Welcome to Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach, along with my partner, Mr. Adewale. We got a big show for y'all today. We talking boxing. You know we got Byron here. We got special guest Julio from Hard War Bangers in the building to help school us on this boxing things. We got a different type of show today. I know normally we've been talking about big time fights, but we had a lot of arguments during our show like, this guy ain't fighting this guy ain't fighting this guy. So now we're going to say, which fighters need to level up? Before we get into it, make sure you go on the Spectator Sporting YouTube page, subscribe to that page, like it, leave comments. We do respond. So, I'm going to go to you first, Byron. I've listened to you for a long time, and you got a lot of quarrels with a lot of boxers. Now it's time to get it off your chest. Right. What 5 boxers need to level up?
Okay, I'm gonna go and get into this. I really wanted Adi to go first so we can get the argument out the way. At number 5, I got Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson is 22-0, 10 KOs. He's currently recovering from hand surgery. And Shakur Stevenson right now is in what I call the quicksand division of boxing, and that is the 135-pound division. And he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. The face of the division doesn't want to fight him. The clear number 2, William Zepeda, has, I believe, contractual obligations for Golden Boy, who is not a big fan of Shakur Stevenson right now. And so Shakur Stevenson is kind of sitting in this place where, you know, he doesn't want to move up to 140. He wants to be prevalent at 135, but he cannot find an opponent. And right now, I think Shakur Stevenson is at a point in his career where I believe that he needs to really look at moving up to 140. At 27 years old, coming off of a hand surgery, I think if you can't get a Tank Davis fight in 2025, it's just better opponents, bigger paydays at 140. And instead of waiting 2 years fighting a bunch of guys that nobody knows the name of, you can get in there, you can maybe make a Devin Haney fight, Jack Cottrell, Liam Paro, or Alberto Puello. And I believe these guys, these are fights where they're not too big, but that's like the top 6 of that division. And I really feel like he's kind of at a point where people, because of his presence on social media, I think right now he got a lot of people that want to see him fail, and he's just talking too much and he's not making fights. And so even though I rock with you, Shakur, man, you need to level up, stop talking, and really think about moving up to 140, because 135 is just not it. At number 4, I have Teofimo Lopez. And I'm going to tell you this. Out of everybody on this list, he gets the piece of shit of the year award to me. I believe that he has a beef with Top Rank that's actually valid. I do think that he's underpaid. I do think that he needs to be paid more. But instead of taking this and using his status as the clear 140-pound champion, he instead is going on racial tirades in order to try to bait Terrence Crawford in a fight at 154. And the problem is he's not fighting anyone at 147. He's not fighting anyone at 140. He's not even trying to fight anyone at 135. Teofimo Lopez at 21-1 with 13 KOs is probably one of the biggest divas in boxing. And right now, he has so many fighters on his butt because he's talking a lot. He's talking a lot on the internet, a lot of racial charged conversations that's really made me lose all respect for him. Devin Haney tries to make a fight with him in the 4th quarter of this year. He says he's not ready. He says he won't fight Shakur Stevenson. Keyshawn Davis is in Top Rank, and I believe Top Rank is trying to set up a fight with Keyshawn Davis and Teofimo for 2025. Teofimo Lopez has came out and said that he will not fight any black fighters. And he's sticking to this. He's not good as Canelo, and I think he wants to fight this Canelo type script where he only fights Mexican fighters or only fights fighters that are, you know, kind of known in Mexico or kind of known off the beaten path, and he wants a lion's share of the money to see these fights. But the problem is, who the hell wants to pay to see Teofimo Lopez fight a nobody? Nobody. You have to fight somebody or get off the throne. He's always constantly threatening retirement. Retire. We don't want to see you. There are too many big names at 140. You won't be missed. So, you know, that's a guy on the list where if I don't ever see him fight again in the ring, I will not feel anything.
Damn.
And number 3, and this is my man Tion. I wish he was here. I got to put Boots Ennis. And Boots Ennis is here because at 32-0, 29 KOs with 27 knockouts, he is just kind of like a big name that we haven't seen with anybody relevant. And he is suffering from, I guess, he's coming into the light at 147 where kind of all the big names, Spence and Crawford, have now migrated up to 154. And my problem with Boots Ennis is his next opponent. His next opponent, Karen Kuchuka-san, a guy that he beat in January 2023. Yeah. This is a guy that he's fighting again. And the reason why I'm leaning on Boots Ennis is because Boots Ennis has a promoter that is trying to make him a relevant fighter. He has a venue in Philly that he fights. He can fight better fights. It's better fights at 147. You have Conor Benn at 147. You have Brian Norman Jr., who's actually been calling him out for a fight. And for me, these are fights that Boots Ennis can fight. He can fight and win these fights. Like these aren't hard fights, but he's refusing to make these fights because I guess there's a chance that he can actually lose. And so he's going for the safe route. And the thing is, these guys want to get paid 10 to 12 million for these fights, and nobody wants to see them. I don't need to see you fight Kuchuka-san again because I felt like even though Kuchuka-san at the time I think he ran off 20 bouts undefeated, you can tell that the skill level is off. You know, he's just not good enough to be an opponent to beat the level of Boots Ennis.
And he was shut out.
You know, and he was absolutely shut out.
Scorecard, he was shut out.
And so after watching that fight, I'm thinking to myself, like, why do I need to see part 2 of this?
Yeah.
How are you even marketing this? And it's because Boots Ennis is coming up under the act of guys that are literally just trying to fight lesser competition, get big paydays, and kind of rob the fans of big fights. And at 27 years old, he kind of is in that Shakur Stevenson kind of lane.
Who do you want to see Boots fight?
I honestly want to see him move up to 154. I think 154 is a division where you have a lot of talent, but at the same time, I don't think he's ready to move up at 154 because he's not fighting anybody. I mean, Conor Benn. Fight somebody where I can get a good take of how you can take power because there's going to be a power increase going up to 154. And he's flashy, he has speed, he has defense, but can you take a punch? And so as far as challenging yourself, which he claims he wants to do, he claims he's the best in the world, and these are guys that are calling out Terrence Crawford, who's the pound for pound in boxing right now. And it's just like, what are you doing to solidify that I'm ready to fight him? Mm-hmm. And he's fighting a guy that he dominated a year ago, he already shut out and beat.
But I would say he missed his opportunity because when Tim Tszyu was supposed to fight Virgil Ortiz Jr., and he was going through the injury process, Bakhram Murtazaliev was sitting right there with the IBF championship with no challenger. Right. That was Boots Ennis' opportunity to move up to 154 and try to get that IBF belt. And then if he was really serious about Bud Crawford, he could have fought him. And, you know, Crawford wants all those belts at 154 if he doesn't get Canelo. Right. So that could have been something he could have done.
And, you know, what I noticed is most of the time a fighter will call out somebody that he's not even really intentionally planning on fighting just to get more attention on himself.
Yeah,
and you know what I mean? So it's like, I think a lot of these guys use tactics that are to just get eyes on them. Mm-hmm. You know, name dropping. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
No, I agree with that. But another fight that I was looking at, Stanios at 147. Stanionis, I'm sorry.
WBA champ.
So Stanionis, I think that's a fight that I think he has power, but I think Boots Ennis has a lot of boxing IQ, and that's a challenging fight. but that's a better fight than what he's fighting this year.
I agree.
And the guys that I named, these are guys that kind of have name, with the exception of Shakur Stevenson. These are guys that have names, and they are kind of the twinkle in their promoter's eye right now. So I truly do feel that these guys can make fights. I feel like if Teofimo Lopez wants to fight Devin Haney, he can fight Devin Haney. I feel like if Boots Ennis wants to fight anybody in the top 5 of 147, he can do that, because right now he's recognized as the best 147-pound fighter in the world. And so that's why he's on my list. And then number 2 is the guy that I hate the most in boxing. It's Canelo Alvarez. And the notes for this are very short. And Adi, if you can just glance over, fight Benavidez or retire. That's if you're not going to fight Benavidez, I don't want to see you against anybody. You're not good enough to go up to light heavy. You're not good enough to beat Bivol. You're not good enough to beat Better BF. I want to see you defend that 168 undisputed title that you've been waving around for 4 effing years, and fight the mandatory challenger, even though now he's moved up to light heavyweight. But again, I think he would come back to 168 to get that fight, to get Canelo. And so at number 2, that's where he is. And now at number 1, I mean, here we go. And it's going to hurt me to say this, but it's Tank Little Duck Davis.
Really, it's going to hurt you for real.
At 30-0, 28 knockouts, the face of boxing, the face of 135-pound division. And right now, we are at a point where we were supposed to see Tank Davis go against Lamont Roach. And Lamont Roach is 130 pounds.
Any relation?
Maybe.
Allegedly.
It's from like the DC area. And you got family out there.
I got a lot of family.
So we don't know
Could
So
be.
I'm not gonna bash Lamont Roach because I don't want his cousin to come at me vicious, but Tank Davis is somebody that I see, and I can see an exceptional God-given talent that he has. Recently, Tim Bradley came out and, announced that Tank Davis is a 30-year prospect, a 30-year-old prospect. I thought that was very disrespectful. But then you kind of look between 2019 and 2021, and you see Tank Davis fight Gamboa, Santa Cruz, Barrios, and Issa Cruz. And at this time, I'm looking at Tank Davis like what I feel like he is. He's a world beater. And after that Issa Cruz fight, where he almost was a close decision, doesn't knock the guy out, very challenging fight, we see Tank go in the dumpster as far as opponents. Rolly Romero, Luis Garcia, Frank Martin, and now Lamont Roach. And this is a guy who said after
Ryan
the Frank...
Garcia, don't forget about
Ryan Garcia.
Don't forget
Ryan
Ryan Garcia.
In my defense, the cheater, I don't feel that was a good fight because he got him at 135 and he gassed him with the rehydration.
Well, hey, you know what? He's trying to call Ryan.
And I'm not denying that.
Make an excuse.
I'm not denying that. But my thing is, if you're gonna fight Ryan Garcia, so can I ask you a question? Who do you think is a better fighter, William Zepeda or Ryan Garcia?
I don't know.
That's a great question.
That's a good question. I ain't gonna lie. That's a
I
good
might take Ryan Garcia.
I might. Yeah.
You're right, because you hate Devin Haney. Ryan Garcia is not better than William Zepeda. And my thing is, William Zepeda is a 135-pound fighter. Ryan Garcia is probably going to challenge at 154, 147 in 2025.
That's a good point.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
You have a big fighter at 135 to fight.
You do.
So while a lot of people will say that, they constantly, the tank sympathizers constantly will talk about his resume and say how it's so competitive. My thing is, with his God-given talent, the best name on your list, I mean, 30 wins, and the best name is Issa Cruz.
Okay, but wait a minute. Didn't he try to fight Lomachenko? He tried to fight Lomachenko.
And if you go back, if you
want
want to marvel these shows and put together how much
Tank was trying to fight Lomachenko, and Lomachenko said he wanted to take the rest of 2024 out.
Sorry.
Before that, actually, Lomachenko was trying to fight Tank. And the
Tank wanted no smoke.
Exactly. The response from the Mayweather team, this is when he was managed by Floyd Mayweather, they said, and I quote, they said that we don't have to take this fight right now. We're young.
I remember that. He's not ready.
Right. And they just came blatant out and said it.
And didn't want it.
And then I think that's when they fought Leo Santa Cruz.
Leo, he uppercutted him and knocked him out. Leo Santa Cruz is a former champ.
Yeah, but he's from like 120. He was a featherweight.
And back to Adi.
Go ahead.
It's one thing with Adi, what Adi's going to always do, Adi is always going to run in and, you know, try to protect Tank, you know, and say that Tank has these opponents that... But my thing is, Tank is the face. Tank is the face. And if you are the face of boxing, what this translates to me is, as the face of boxing, I can fight whoever I want. You know, and as much as we hate Canelo Alvarez has said, look, I'm at the top of the mountain. I generate the most revenue. I'll fight who I want. If I want to fight a bum, I'm gonna fight a bum. But Tank Davis hasn't accumulated the resume of a Canelo Alvarez to do the things that Canelo Alvarez does. And right now, Tank Davis is showing us that he does not want to fight. He does not want to fight any fighter at 135 that is going to push him. Lamont Roach is not a 135-pound fighter.
But Lomachenko is.
And keep in mind, Lomachenko, you can't make Lomachenko is 37 years old.
He's 36.
So he'll be 37 by the time this fight happens, if it happens.
But it should have happened in November.
If it happens.
36.
But the thing is, just because one fighter doesn't fight you, and I said this months ago, I told them that he's going to take the year off. And there are so many layers, because we should be talking about a December 14 Tank fight, but we aren't, right? Because that fight is not being made. And right now, that fight is up in the air because it is alleged that Tank Davis wants $12 to $15 million to fight Lamont Roach. And they're not going to generate that revenue. Now, what I'll say about Tank Davis pay-per-views is Tank Davis does to tomato cans what should be done. He knocks them out. He finished them. And also, he has big names on his card. So you don't necessarily watch a Tank Davis pay-per-view just for the Tank Davis fight. He had Benavidez on his card, and I believe the December 14th fight got tanked because Benavidez and Morrell were originally scheduled to be on that pay-per-view. Yeah. And then someone smart said, hey, that's a main event. Why the hell would it be a co-main on a pay-per-view for a fight that nobody cares about? And I really think the revenue kind of got switched around once that fight got pulled out. And now we're in limbo to where he's still talking about fighting Lamont Roach early next year.
Who do you want to see him fight?
I want to see him fight somebody in the top 3 at 135. I want to see him against William Zepeda. But okay. I understand. And the reason why I want to see him at William Zepeda is because it's a guy that you can't gas at 135. He's at 135. He's been at 135. He can maintain that weight. He's 5'9" with a 69.5 inch reach, and he's ultra aggressive. Now, do I believe that that's a fight that Tank Davis can't win? Absolutely not. I still think he can win this fight. But it's a competitive fight. And it's a fight where he can start to grab gold at 135. Because right now, Tank Davis is seeming like he doesn't want to go to 140 because he can go to 140, but it's a lot more competitive. But he can call out anybody at 140 and get that fight. And my thing with Tank is you want to fight for the money, right? And that's kind of like how his handlers are pushing him. He's a money fighter, you know. Isn't a fight with Devin Haney more lucrative than a fight with Lamont Roach?
Teofimo at 140.
Isn't a fight with Teofimo, but Teofimo don't want to fight, Teofimo doesn't want to fight black fighters, so.
And don't look, like, Pitbull Cruz, if he had defeated Rayo Venezuela.
That fight was happening.
It was going to be Pitbull versus.
Yeah, that fight was happening.
And Rayo doesn't want to go back down to 135. He already told Tank that.
Right, and so, but my thing is, Tank has this, that's why I call it 135 the quicksand division. Because it's like the guys there want to move up, and the guy who's the man there wants to pull everybody back. Like, okay, you're a champion at 140, but fight me at 135.
So I got you. So Tank Davis, Canelo Alvarez, Boots Ennis, Teofimo Lopez, and Shakur Stevens rounds out your top 5. Adi, give me your 5 who need to level up.
Okay, number 1, possibly the youngest guy on any of our lists, the real big baby, Jared Anderson.
Oh,
okay. He's still recovering from that brutal loss to Big Martin.
Level up. Like some people ain't got the ability to level down. He might have taken him down. I don't know.
He got to bounce back.
Yeah.
I think he can bounce back from that fight. Okay. That was a brutal loss.
Yeah.
Right? Now, towards the end of the first round of that fight, Martin Bakole, vicious combination, dropped Jared Anderson to the canvas. But for the next 3 rounds, Jared Anderson showed some resiliency, toughness, and heart. But Martin Bakole was 32 pounds heavier than Jared Anderson, and he's 2 inches taller than him. Jared Anderson should have used much more footwork. He should not have traded as much as with him and exchanged so many punches with Martin Bakole in that fight. The 5th round, he got knocked out. He got knocked, thankfully the ref, stopped the fight and everything. But, however, Daniel Dubois, he bounced back nicely from getting knocked out by the juggernaut Joe Joyce and Alexander Usyk. He's a great example for Jared Anderson to look at. Don't let Daniel Dubois take over this division because all the best boxers there now is about to be out of there soon. I think Jared Anderson can work on his footwork more and improve in 2025. By the end of the next year, I think he can get a big fight and bounce back. Okay. Number 2. You guys, maybe Roach's favorite fighter. I'm sure it's Tion's favorite fighter. The WBC lightweight champion of the world, Shakur Stevenson. All right. Now, look, after Frank the Ghost Martin's unanimous decision victory over Artem Harutyunyan, a fight where Frank Martin knocked Harutyunyan down in the 12th round, Shakur Stevenson went on Twitter like he always does, or whatever social media account, and he criticized the hell out of Frank Martin for that fight. Then Shakur Stevenson signed up to fight Harutyunyan in his next fight, and he said he was going to stop Artem, okay? But he didn't even knock him down. Yeah. And before the 11th round, Wally Moses, Shakur Stevenson's trainer and grandpa, told him, you can't let this guy outpunch you. You need to increase your punch output. Because you look at that 9th and 10th round of that fight, you see Harutyunyan throwing 3, 4, 5 punch combinations, not getting the consequences, not getting counter punched, not getting too courageous out there, not feeling the power, not this man Shakur Stevenson not letting his hands go.
Could have been hand issues.
It could be, but the same thing with De Los Santos. He said something was wrong with his hand again in that fight.
He's having surgery on his hand.
Yeah, so
he got the Mayweather brittle hands.
It might be.
Is that what's going on?
I'll be honest, it doesn't really look like he's punching that hard with his hand. I think what's possibly happening is before he's going into the fight, he was already having hand problems from the training, and then he's probably aggravating the injury. Yeah. You know how you can aggravate an old injury, and that's what's probably happening during the fight. Yeah. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
No. I mean, it must be something wrong.
That's why I think the surgery on the hands happen right now.
And then if you're not giving your body the proper time to heal, and you're going right back into training, and look at the time between his last fight. Let's be honest. If you're a boxer and you're punching a bag and you're having surgery on your hands, like, what is the correct time to heal? Right. You think about the scar tissue, all the arthritis you're gonna get. Right.
Mayweather took a layoff after his issue. He had to come back.
So I'm just maybe it's an injury issue with him, but it's just you looking at the fight, you want more. And then after that fight, he signed up to fight a man coming off a TKO loss, coming up for a lower weight class, Joe Cordina. It's just not looking appealing. So hopefully he heals up in 2025. Maybe by the time the summer, fall, or winter of next year, he's ready to go and he's healed up. Okay. Now at number 3, I got the Japanese monster Naoya Inoue. Okay, I got this man at number 3, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Before you do, I totally disagree with you.
I totally disagree.
Okay, but go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to
I'm glad you disagree.
Level up?
Yes, level up, my man. Now I'm gonna let y'all know something. Now the winner of last year's Inoue versus Tapales fight was mandated to fight the WBA top contender MJ Akhmadaliev. But MJ's promoter revealed that Naoya Inoue applied for a special permit to avoid MJ Akhmadaliev, and he went ahead and fought Louis Nery, who scared Inoue's promoter, Bob Arum shitless, scared the shit out of him when he got knocked down in the first round by Louis Nery. Yes, the Japanese monster did bounce back and knock him out in the 6th round. But then he ducked MJ again and he decided to fight a man who only won 5 out of his last 9 fights. TJ passed the Henny, Doe Henny. And of course, he got his ass knocked out because he was a fucking tomato can. So then,
that boy fired up.
Then he signs up. Now he's signing up around Christmas or day after Christmas or something like that. He's about to fight a man with only a 42% knockout rate, Sam Goodman, rather than Akhmadaliyev's 75% knockout rate. The man Akhmadaliev has 300 amateur victories. He shares the same trainer as Israel Madrimov, Joel Diaz, a Hall of Fame trainer. This guy's not gonna go out easy, and he's calling him out on the internet. MJ is. And I don't want to see the Japanese monster do MJ just like Canelo did David Benavidez. That's what's happening. Okay, and so the Japanese monster, he's gonna try to run up to 126. And MJ said he'll chase him up there too. So I want to fight MJ in 2025. So yeah, that's why I'm saying that.
Because he needs to level up.
Yeah, fight MJ. He's ducking. He's ducking.
But you know what? I'm sorry, but I have to point out, how many times has this man went up in weight? How many times has he went up in weight? How could you tell a man that's coming, look what Mayweather did. Mayweather came up from 135 and went all the way up to 160. Can you tell that man to level up after he won those belts at them lower weights? And we're talking about a small man.
It's a very small man.
Growing, going up in weight and competing and beating the bigger men.
Yeah.
If you're doing that, brother, I feel like what you're doing already, you're already leveled up. And it's eventually, I hate to say this, but Canelo's right. Weight classes are there for a reason.
That's true.
So, look what happened to Andre when he fought against Benavidez. That was a humiliating defeat. I doubt Demetrius Andre could come back after that.
Yeah, Boo Boo still haven't fought.
Yeah. Hey, that's the result of not
being ready to move up.
Right. You know what I mean? That's the reason why you don't want to move up. You don't want, he could be damaged for the rest of his life from going up against a guy like that. And I would hate to see something like that happen in Anu.
But anyway, the thing is, MJ is in the same weight class as the Japanese monster. They're in the same weight class. They're in the same weight class.
It's very ducky. It's a ducky situation.
And Mayweather
but to say that he leveled, it's the same as Canelo though. To me, it's like, in a way, has earned his say. And if he doesn't want to fight this guy,
yeah. So now at number 4, I get he's from Philly, the IBF welterweight champion, Boots Ennis. Okay. Yeah. Turns out that Terrence Crawford versus Boots Ennis big mega matchup was just imagination land. It's a great land to visit if you can. Just visit it one day. It's a wonderful place.
It's a wonderful place.
Get a plane ticket.
But you have to come back to reality.
You can walk.
You have to come back to reality. And since there was no move up to the 154-pound division, the new plan was for Boots Ennis to be the new welterweight undisputed king. Yeah. But talks with the WBO champ, Brian the Assassin 2 Norman Jr., they fell apart. It didn't work out. They couldn't get a deal. They was negotiating. They blamed him. They blamed everybody. I don't know whose fault it is. It just didn't happen, okay? So now we got a fight that no one, not even the Ukrainians wanted to see, against Karen Chukajan, okay? No one wanted to see that. The rematch, no. Okay, so now at number 5, I have the WBO junior welterweight champ, the takeover, Teofimo Lopez. Okay. This man has been very unimpressive in 2024. In February against Jermaine Ortiz, he did a very poor job of cutting off the ring, as Jermaine Ortiz constantly stayed out of trouble with excellent footwork. Teofimo Lopez, he barely escaped with a victory. 2 judges scored the fight, 115, 113, and then Teofimo Lopez and his father handpicked the next opponent, who was the exact opposite of Jermaine Ortiz's slick boxing style, the Dragon Steve Claggett. They went against Steve Claggett, who kept going forward, kept punching and everything, and still Teofimo Lopez hasn't had a knockout victory in 5 years. I need to see more from Teofimo next year.
Man, compelling list. Compelling list. I'm waiting on Julio's list. I can't wait to hear Julio's list, and we'll hear that when we come back. Spectator Sporting. Man, y'all had some real interesting lists. I'm not gonna lie. And Julio, I want you to talk on that list before giving your 5. But before, make sure you go on Spectator Sporting, subscribe to that page, leave comments. Leave comments on this show. And remember, if you want us to talk about something, leave it in the comments. We will give you a shout out and we will address it. So Julio, Byron, Tank Davis, Canelo Alvarez, Boots Ennis, Teofimo Lopez, and Shakur Stevens. Adi, Jared Anderson, Shakar Stevenson. Say it for me.
In a way.
Yes. Boots Ennis and Teofimo Lopez. What do you think about their list?
Man, I'm gonna tell you what, man. Byron has a real solid list. You know, it's really nothing bad I could say about his list. You know, I would have probably moved. Well, I mean, I got my own list without saying too much about my list.
Yeah.
And you know what? Not for nothing. Adi got a good list too. It's just that I feel like Anderson. I don't feel like he should have made the list because technically he tried to level up, and when he tried to level up,
he got beat down.
He got beat.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like what he needs to do is maybe, you know, go back to the drawing board.
He need to fight some cupcakes. Get his mind right.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And the same for Adewale or Inanu, I call him. Anyway, I feel like in a way for him to still be competing at the weight that he's from and moving up, I feel like, you know, it's not too much you can ask him to do. You know what I mean? It's almost like the Canelo effect, where Canelo was fighting at 175 against Bivol. He lost, but what can you say about it? He still challenged himself by moving up in weight to fight a bigger man. So it's like, to ask him to level up even more is like, you know, how bad do you want to see him lose? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
For Boots, both you guys had that on there. I agree with Boots, man. I'm tired of seeing him against the people he's fighting too. It's like, you know, it's the people that he fights, I wouldn't know who they were. The only reason I know who they are is because they're fighting them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you have to do and you like, okay.
Yeah,
I gotta research it. Watch some YouTube videos.
And then I gotta see who he's fought and try to figure out why is he worth fighting Boots and how did they dig him up, you know? But the name that I think deserves to be on here without a doubt, or both of you guys look, is without a doubt Teofimo. You know what I mean? And I hate to say it because he actually fought a live body last time, but didn't nobody want to see that.
Nobody wants to
you know what I mean? And even though he won, it's like, who the hell? Yeah, come on, man, you can do better. I agree.
And it's a weird spot because his promotion company is giving him fights. He was offered a Devin Haney fight for a lucrative amount. He wasn't offered $1 million to fight Devin Haney. He said his exact words, "I'm not ready."
Yeah. If it's one thing I noticed, he talks a lot of crap about people, but it's never the people you end up seeing him fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I seen him call out 2 people from 2 different weight classes, and he hasn't end up fighting either one of them. Right. Terrence Crawford, that's not a fight. Let's be real.
He likes Imagination Land too.
Yeah. He has property in it.
But it's a reason why he's doing it. He's doing whatever he can do to stay relevant without losing. Yeah. So, you know, hey, kudos to T.O. if that's what you're doing. If that's what you got to do to survive, then so be it. It's just, in the boxing game, we want to see you fight in the ring and win. That's what you want to be known for, not talking outside of the ring, right?
Facts.
Tank Davis, man. Man, you guys, well, actually, you didn't have him on your list.
No, he didn't. He wouldn't put him there.
But I agree, man.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of seeing Tank with this bullshit, man. And if you go on his box record and you look at his record, you'll see a whole bunch of undefeated fighters, but there are a whole bunch of undefeated fighters that shouldn't have fought Tank.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's almost like you're cherry picking. You're pretty much doing something similar to the effect of what Canelo Alvarez is doing. No one wanted to see Canelo fight Berlanga. The only reason that was a fight is because he was undefeated. Right. You take that 0 away from Berlanga, and that fight had no value whatsoever.
No, just like this fight has no value.
So, you know,
my Roach fight is...
Yeah, Tank is pretty much doing...
Shout out to my cousin, Upset City.
Yeah. And look, man, I like Tank. I just don't like the opposition he's facing. You know what I mean?
Let me just spin it one more time. Okay, I don't think he's doing the same thing Canelo's doing. Canelo ducked David Benavidez. He ducked him. He would never fight him. Tank Davis, who did Tank Davis duck? He's not, even though you say he should have fought Lomachenko years ago, but still, he's tried to fight him this year. So it's not like Lomachenko, if he wanted to fight him, he could have fought him.
Can I ask you a question? All right. All these guys came from 135, correct? All the guys that we're talking about right now that's in 140, they all came from 135. Yeah. Terrence Crawford came from
135.
All right? Am I wrong?
No.
So how did Tank maneuver away from all these guys? Look at his record. While they were fighting people that they were supposed to be fighting, he was digging up people from lighter weight classes.
Right.
Look at the age factor. How old is Tank?
30. He's about to be 30. He's about to be 30
years old.
He's about to be 30.
What do you think his shelf life is going to be as a boxer?
Yeah, about 5 years.
It depends on when he decides to challenge himself in the ring.
Right. He hasn't been.
Because I think if you get a loss at 32, 33, depending on how bad it is.
I just don't see a boxer that he was afraid to fight. Like, who's that boxer?
I think a lot of
he was afraid
boxers
to fight?
don't want to. They might
Is
not
it
want to see
fair?
Tank. They might not want to see Tank. I think it's the opposite way around, where people might not want to, because he's such a knockout artist too. I think that's going on too. I could be wrong.
You think
I could be wrong.
I think Keyshawn Davis will fight him right now.
Because one thing about Tank finishes people, and that's the risk you take when you step in the ring with
Has
Tank
he
Davis.
fought an elite boxer?
No, here's the thing. If Benavidez fought Canelo, who you picking in that fight?
If Benavidez
Fought Canelo.
Benavidez.
So who you at 135? Who you picking to beat Tank Davis right now? Who's beating Tank Davis at 135?
I'll
You
pick
know what?
Zapata to beat him.
After seeing
I'll pick Zapata to beat him.
I don't know about Zapata.
A big fighter, then fight him.
I'm gonna tell you what. After seeing Lomachenko and Devin Haney fight, I think Loma could beat Tank.
I think he can.
Now, I'm not going to argue with you. That's what I'm saying. Now, that's why I feel like Loma should have fought him, because I kind of agree with you. Like, if they fought each other, I think that'd be a great fight.
At 36, Lomo can say, I'm taking off the rest of the year.
But why ain't
Tank Davis takes off years. He beat up his girl, he take off a year and a half.
Yeah, he got locked. He was in jail.
I mean, come on. But I'm just saying, we steady piling on Lomachenko. Lomo is... This is what I don't understand.
What about Devin Haney?
Adi makes excuses sometimes for a guy like Canelo, right?
No, Canelo never made an excuse for Canelo.
I'm just saying, you sometimes you make excuses for guys, but it's like Tank Davis has other names at 135 other than Lomachenko.
Well, I do got something else to add. Do y'all remember when Tank Davis fought the Mexican dude, Barrios?
Mario, he moved up 2 weight classes to fight Mario Barrios.
Moved up to 140.
He moved up to 140 to fight Mario Barrios.
That wasn't
Okay,
two weight.
what's stopping him from moving up to 140?
I've said that many times. They won't answer.
Out of all the people at 140 that's at 140 right now, the only
It's
person.
all names.
The only person who is Barrios. Look at the people that man Teofimo's at 140. Is
He had bad luck because Pitbull lost to Rio, and then Lomachenko decided to take it
Rio
off.
is at 140 right now, correct?
Yeah.
You know what the difference between a great fighter and a good boxer is? You want to know what the difference is?
What's the difference?
First of all, do y'all know what the difference is?
Between
A great fighter and a good boxer?
Yeah, you want to know what the difference
What's the
is?
difference?
What's the
The
difference?
great fighter can get belts in different divisions.
Mm-hmm.
A good boxer is only good in that one weight division.
Well, Tank did go up to 140 and beat Mario Barrios.
That's the only time he went.
Yeah. Well, when is he gonna do it again? When is
So
he gonna
let me
be
ask you
great
something.
again?
Well, before we go further, before you go tell, I just want to ask you something, like, because you got a lot of, experience in the boxing. You've been around a lot of boxing. Maybe Byron, you can answer this question too. I'm not sure. Is some people's bodies different where it's harder for them to move up in weight?
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
like some people might just naturally
Tank is a little
gain-
person.
gain
I've
weight.
said this
Yeah.
many
You
times.
know what I'm saying?
There's a cap on him. A lot of people early in his career were saying, Tank at 147. I said he's never going to 147.
I agree.
He's never going to 147. This guy's going to 140, but I feel like 140 is that ceiling because he can run into a good boxer at 140, and I think he can get beat up. And the thing is, a lot of people speak on, Tank Davis having a high ring IQ, Tank Davis being a much better boxer. But what we see of Tank Davis is Tank Davis goes in these fights with guys with less ability, but he loses a lot of rounds. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of those fights, he's losing the fight. So I think if you fight Shakur Stevenson, a guy who is a ring general, and you let him get up 4 or 5 rounds on you, you're in trouble. Because do you have the boxing IQ to narrow the gap late in the fight to get the knockout? And I think if you're fighting an elite boxer, those opportunities for a knockout they're not prevalent.
I agree to a certain point because I say that Tank being put in there at 140 with the right guy, he can easily get outboxed. because he's going to be in there with someone who's taller, who's got a longer reach. So when it comes to him picking an opponent at 140, they're looking for that special type of opponent that they know.
No defense, come forward.
Well, all right, go. Let me hear you. Let me hear your list. Let me hear your list, Julio. Let's get it. Let's go.
Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna start from 5 and move down to 1. Okay. So my number 5 was David Morrell. I felt like he needed to level up. I felt like he doesn't even deserve the fight against David Benavidez because he hasn't really proved anything with the people he's fighting. I feel that David Morrell should be fighting opposition like Caleb Plant. Maybe go down the list and look at some of the guys that David Benavidez fought and go fight some of them guys and prove that you have what it takes to be in the ring.
At 168?
At 168, absolutely.
I agree.
But he's fought against some Cuban guys and stuff like that, but
he definitely doesn't have a long
David Benavidez has names on his record.
Yeah.
Can any of you guys tell me 3 people that Morrell has fought?
Hot rod.
But you see my point, right?
No, I guess
he's kind of like, but David Morrell he's kind of like that hot prospect, and he's following David Benavidez. And so, but I totally agree. Like as far as 168 is not a division deep with names.
Right.
So
I feel like he's like a Zerto Ramirez. Y'all remember the Mexican dude that the ball beat up? And it was like, oh, this is a big fight. He had like 50-something fights and he was undefeated and then he ran into the ball and he got outboxed easily by the smaller guy.
That could happen.
And then my number 4, which is a common guy view, Teofimo. And I don't even feel like I should elaborate on it because y'all are hit on the point. There's nothing I can say about him. But I'm not going to disrespect him and call Tia female because he went in there and he had some wars and he fought his heart out and I respect anyone that goes between the ropes.
Facts.
But yeah, he's definitely.
But it's the comments, Tia female.
Yeah.
It's the comments.
Shakur Stevenson, of course, which y'all already done. And then Canelo, I agree with you. He needs to step up and he needs to fight David Benavidez. There's no one left but David Benavidez.
Yeah.
There's nobody else that anyone would pay to see Canelo
Who's
fight.
gonna
Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford. Now, what do you think about Bud Crawford, bro?
I will pay to see that fight.
You know what? I really don't want to see it though. I mean, if that becomes an option, then I'm okay with it. But the fight I really want to see is David Benavidez.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like Terrence Crawford is a cop-out. You know, okay, I ain't gonna give you Benavidez. I'll fight Crawford for you. Oh, is that really a trade though? Benavidez.
Not pray to boxing guys here.
Listen, Benavidez is running through guys like a hot knife through butter. What does Terrence Crawford's last fight look like to y'all?
It was challenging. It was a challenging fight.
Does that earn him a shot?
No, but this is my thing. I felt like Terrence Crawford dominated that fight. I really do.
I'm not saying that.
Watched it 3 times, and I don't feel like he was hurt. I don't feel like he was pushed. I feel like he did what he wanted to do in the later part of that fight.
But it didn't earn him a shot against Canelo. All right, you going against a 150.
Why are we putting him on the pedestal?
Because that is a possible name for Canelo future opponent. And I'm not putting him on a pedestal because, and to be honest, Terrence Crawford's name don't belong on the list. So he's on the pedestal. Because if we felt he had to level up, then his name would have been on the list. You see what I'm saying?
You know who's on the list? Chris Eubank Jr. is on the list. The fight at Wembley Stadium.
That's my thing.
Oh, against Canelo?
Against Canelo.
Nah, I don't think they're going to do that.
I think that's
okay.
I don't know. It might happen.
Okay.
So who's you rather see, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Canelo or Bud Crawford versus Canelo? That's the question. Because Benavidez is just imagination.
I'd rather see Bud Crawford go against Eubank.
Chris Eubank Jr.?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then whoever wins, then you get Canelo. It's too many easy routes nowadays, man.
Yeah.
Look, man, just because you beat one good fighter don't mean you get to fight the head honcho, man.
Sure.
Yo, man, we talking about a dude that turned pro at 15 years old in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? This dude didn't even finish high school. What the heck makes all these fighters think you deserve to compete against a guy like that who's put his whole life in boxing?
I think he's using that same excuse to dodge Benavidez.
Who the fuck done did it? You look at all these American fighters, none of them turned pro at 15.
If you're in a combat sport and you nominate yourself the face of this sport, and you have a monster behind you who is literally nicknamed a monster, Come on, like it's the king of the hill mentality. You gotta get this guy a shot. And for me, he loses his luster. He loses that omnipotence because you are clearly running from your best competitor. You are running from your best challenge. So how can I still place you on a pedestal above anybody?
Okay, now within respectful perimeters. All right, now let's talk perimeters in boxing because a lot of people will ignore it and only look at the best fights. All right, Benavidez started pro boxing at what weight class? What weight class was it?
168.
168. He's been 168.
Yeah. What weight class did Canelo start at?
Much lower.
He was like 147, right?
No, that's another excuse.
Wait. But let's call it what it is.
That's true.
Let's call it what it. Hold on. But let's look at what it really is. We got a big man. A big man.
A very big man. A true 168.
Calling out to someone who's moving up to that weight class.
Oh,
I'm not saying that it's wrong or it's right because I want to see Canelo fight against Benavidez. That's the fight I want to see. Everyone wants to see.
So is Benavidez too big and Terrence Crawford too small? Like who's just right?
So
Berlanga too.
The only person that can answer that
Iron Man gear.
the only
Well,
the only person that can answer that question is the fans who will pay to see it, right? That's the only thing that's gonna motivate the fighters to fight.
That's a good point.
It might be a hitman trouble.
Now Canelo, that's one thing he got. No matter who he can fight one of us, and people are going to tune in.
And everybody
Okay. So I mean, look, man, Benavidez can fight. He can fight better beats, right?
That's right.
He could go against Bivol. He ain't got to be chasing Canelo.
Yeah, no, he got competition.
That's a dream deferred. That's a dream deferred.
I don't think he is.
But
I think if Canelo said next month, I'll fight you at 168, I think he's going to get him at 168.
I'll fight Canelo next month if he said.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. That's what Benavidez says he's done with him. He don't want anything. But if he calls him and like, all right, I'll fight you at 1, I think Benavidez jumping up because for Benavidez, it's more of a cultural thing. Like, I want to be the best Mexican fighter in boxing.
Mm-hmm. You know, Benavidez is actually half Honduras.
Yeah, I do.
And so my number one was Tank Davis. Tank Davis, above all the other fighters.
Where's the Tank?
Tank Davis made my number one, bro. It's been about a good 8 years I've been waiting to see this guy fight somebody that I'm excited to see him fight. And the only person that I got excited to see him fight was Pitbull. And the only reason I got excited about Pitbull is because I didn't know who the fuck he was until he got in there and was aggressive with Tank.
Yeah.
And then I researched him a little bit and I said, damn, this guy still wasn't a good fight for Tank. Tank was still beating up on a little guy, you know what I mean? Like he did Leo Santa Cruz, how he pulled him up and stuff like that. But yeah, man, without a doubt, Tank has fought undefeated fighters, but he has not fought the fighter that people want to see. The fans want to see you in there with a name. Fans want to see you in there with someone that they know is an elite fighter. And right now, you go on his box rec, I can't find one elite fighter on there, and I would say Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is the only name that I honestly.
So you're saying that's his best opponent?
As of right now?
Wow. Ryan Garcia is a I know he got caught cheating.
For Tank? Man, go look at Tank's box right. Tell me.
I would say Esau Cruz was his best opponent.
You think Pitbull Cruz?
Yeah.
Well, it's
better than Garcia? What do you think?
His best opponent?
Yeah, versus Cruz and Garcia. Who do you think was better?
I'm gonna say Garcia.
Garcia.
I'm gonna say Garcia.
And that's not a bad.
He quit. Garcia quit.
But you remember Tank Davis got injured against Pitbull Cruz. That's why he didn't knock him down.
Do we know that?
So, but here's the thing. But here's the thing. No. Here's the thing about 135. No, here's the thing about 135. It's a lot of ducks in 135, okay? Yeah. Now, look. William Zepeda was supposed to fight Shakur Stevenson, but then he said because his wife was having a baby, he didn't want to fight Shakur Stevenson. And so, what are you talking about? Then he signed up and fought. He's about to fight. He fought somebody. He signed up to fight another guy, despite not fighting Farmer or whatever. So he's not even fighting Shakur Stevenson because he said his wife was pregnant and this and that. But then he signed up to fight in November anyway. Okay, so Zepeda's ducking. Shakur Stevenson. Are we gonna say that Tank didn't fight Shakur Stevenson because Tank is afraid of Shakur Stevenson?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Why didn't he fight him? Why didn't he fight him?
That's a
How you know that? How you know it's not Shakur Stevenson? How you know it's not Shakur Stevenson fault and it's Caleb's fault?
Okay, can I ask
How you know that?
Can I ask you this? Let's be honest. A moment of truth. And let's just on a man level.
Yeah.
On a man level, right? These guys are pro fighters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put yourself in them shoes. In the shoes of the fighters that we're talking about, right? Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson is considered a prospect. You see what I'm saying? Tank is considered the top dog. Am I wrong?
He top dog.
He's top dog. Yeah, I
Bring him across.
consider that. Yeah.
So
Shakur Stevenson has a very accomplished resume as well.
So my point is that people are supposed to be challenging the top dog, right? That's the name of the game.
That is.
Yeah.
Who's challenging them right now? Tell me the names of people that
Challenging Tank Davis.
Keyshawn Davis, Shakur Stevenson,
Is Shakur Stevenson really challenging?
Go ahead.
Connor Ben. Did Connor Ben say something? Yeah, he was talking crap. But it's been a lot of fighters that's been saying
what
they want
is
to
he
fight.
doing?
That's what I'm saying.
What stopping?
He's number one on my list because I feel like at the position you're in,
He can make.
you can fight a fight with any of them.
He can make a great fight.
Yeah.
If he wants to.
You can literally tell Vegas, I'm Tank Davis, I want to fight this guy, and he has that
Ryan
Canelo
Garcia did
type.
it. He did it for Ryan Garcia.
Conor Ben,
He did it for Ryan
Conor Ben
Garcia.
is not in his division. He's
He's
not
not.
at 135.
He's not.
All right, but we're just
But
saying.
I'm just saying, these are guys that
135 fighters.
But
And we can't say, I'm not sitting here.
Tiafoe, I went to 140.
He said 140.
Right, he went to 140 to fight Barrios, right?
You went to 140 fight bars.
Yo, he could fight one of them guys from Europe. He could fight Tiafoe's last opponent that he took the belts from.
We can't sit here and say that Tank Davis is afraid of Shakur Stevenson.
I don't think it's fair.
He's
Okay,
not.
I don't
Then
think
what's
it's fair.
I'm not taking Shakur over Tank.
I
You're
think
not
it's-
taking Shakur over Tank.
Who?
And I know who you take, but I'm saying you're not taking Shakur over Tank in the fight.
And you know why? You know why I'm not gonna take it? Because it ain't never gonna fucking happen.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Tank, Tank,
It ain't gonna happen.
stop fighting my cousin and go fight somebody.
No,
I'm tired
no,
of
no,
it.
no, no,
I'm tired of it.
Look, let's be honest. In a couple of years, Tank is gonna be on the bad side of 30.
He is.
Shakur is coming.
He's
up.
27.
He's 27.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good
Add up
point. That's a
the
good
years.
point. That's a good point.
Why wouldn't you want to fight him?
Man, Shakur.
Especially how you say you can beat him and how easy he
All right,
is.
so
He better fight him now.
Why not?
Why he can beat him?
all right, so Julio, number 5, David Morrell, Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, Canelo Alvarez, and Tank Davis.
Number 1.
All right, I'm gonna give y'all my list real quick, and then all right, mine's gonna surprise y'all a little bit. I'm so tired of Byron. I love me some Tank Davis. I'm one of the biggest Tank Davis fans out there, and I'm putting Vasily Lomachenko up there because goddammit, you should have took the damn fight, and we wouldn't be talking about this right now. We would be talking about. Y'all wouldn't be saying he wouldn't fight nobody because y'all be like he's fighting Lomachenko. You wouldn't be saying that if he was fighting. If that fight happened. Okay, so that's what I think about that.
He
So,
ducked him. He ducked him.
Can we put comments in between?
yeah, go for it. Go for it.
He did fight Devin Haney, correct? And a fight that he could have easily, that probably should have went to Lomachenko. So I feel
Very close
personally, how could you ask the man to level up?
He fought Devin Haney.
I'm not saying
Compared to Tank Davis who's gonna knock you out. Yeah, you fight Devin Haney. Devin Haney don't knock anybody out. All he pillow hand. That's his nickname, pillow hand.
So why isn't Tank fighting Devin
Hey,
Haney?
Devin Haney, right?
Devin Haney get knocked out by Tank Davis. He not gonna he has knocked Devin
Fight him
Haney
at
out.
140.
So why won't he fight him?
Fight him at 140.
And you know the fight. You know they offered him the fight.
They did.
You know they offered Tank
His
Davis.
people said no.
They were just on the internet talking shit.
All right.
Man. They
all right, but I like Lomachenko, so I'm not saying that level. I'm just mad.
What's your list?
I'm just
Your
mad
list.
that he didn't take the fight because I think those conversations would simmer down that Tank ain't fighting nobody.
Oh, wait.
Staying with the Ukraine.
Devin Haney got knocked out by Ryan Garcia. Tank Davis are definitely knocking him.
Yeah.
Why are we
Fight
talking
on
about a cheater?
All right,
At a different weight class. Don't forget that. Tank Davis is only dangerous.
And on
He knocked out Barrios.
no, it's good. Number four, no, on nobody's radar, but Earl Spence. When are you going to fight again? I know this fight's been going on with Fandora, but to keep getting pushed back. He hasn't recovered. I'm not sure if he's ever recovered from the Bud Crawford fight.
Can I say something between that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, man. The guy's had a real rough
He had
fight.
a rough-
It's like
How long ago was that fight?
I mean, almost
July 2023.
That's a long time.
And then every time I see him on a video or picture, I still think about fight and be like,
He still don't look, man. I ain't
He
gonna
doesn't
lie.
deserve.
He still don't
He
look, man. I ain't gonna lie.
doesn't deserve the Fedora fight. He
Right.
doesn't.
He should just sit out.
And I hate this number 3 fight. I hate to say because I agree with y'all. Tank Davis, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You did. And listen,
Only one.
yes, I love. Everybody knows I love me some Tank Davis. I love watching him fight. I love his fight style. But fight Shakur Stevenson. Fight somebody. Shut these guys up for me. Please. Please. Come on, Tank. Fight somebody. Number 2, Canelo Alvarez. Fight Benavidez or retire. Look, we don't want to see you fight Berlanga. We don't want to fight you. We don't want to see you fight Charlo. We don't want to see you fight Munguia. We don't want to see that. I understand. Now, I'm going to give Canelo a little credit here. He's a little older. He has fought 66 fights. He's 62-2, so that's a lot of fights. He's been in a lot of wars. He had moments in life where he was fighting the top dogs. But right now, I don't want to see another fight unless it's Benavidez. That's it. You fight that or retire. Number 1, the undefeated Devin Haney. Yes, the undefeated Devin Haney. I know he's undefeated, but ever since he got his ass whooped by the cheating Garcia, he's suing. Instead of working on the boxing, he's trying to sue him. He's trying to do all this. Get back in the ring, Devin Haney.
How does Devin Haney have to level up?
Rematch.
When Devin Haney
Rematch. Devin
Haney is an undisputed champion.
Yeah.
He became a champion at 140. Devin Haney probably has the best resume out of all these fighters that we talk about. And Devin Haney goes after gold. He wants to be an undisputed champion in multiple weight classes. So what about Devin Haney? You know, he lost to a cheater. He didn't get knocked out. He lost a decision. He got knocked down, but he lost to a cheater, and he's still undefeated. How does he need to level up when his resume says that he fights champions and he goes after belts?
And he dubbed Shakur Stevenson.
You know what? Hey, I had to go on BoxRec. For those of you who don't know what BoxRec is, it's the official record-keeping,
please go to it.
Professional and
That's like to go to. I ain't gonna front.
So what I would urge you guys to do is go on Devin Haney's BoxRec and look at his opponents. And me personally, I like Devin Haney. I just don't like the way that the stuff ended with Ryan Garcia and the whole thing outside of the ring.
Yeah.
But I would like to see them guys fight again. But what I wanted to pull up was his last 10 opponents. So Ryan Garcia, Regis Prograis, Lomachenko, Kambosos twice, Joseph Diaz, George Lazar. In Australia. Gamboa, Alfredo Santiago. Y'all don't know him, but he was good, man. He was undefeated. So the reason why I'm saying these names is because put some respect on his name. Put some respect on his name.
So you made no.
Put some respect on Devin Haney. Put some respect on Devin Haney.
I have my money on Ryan because I have my money on, but it don't matter anyway because they overturned.
Adi hates Haney.
But Haney, man, you gotta look, man. The dude fights in the ring. You know what I'm saying? You got look at the box rate. You can't deny.
You can't deny. You can't deny.
Yeah.
You can't deny.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, he is undefeated. I just the whole Ryan Garcia just got a bad taste in my mouth.
He's a cheater. He lost to someone who cheated.
He did.
He was unprepared.
He didn't look good in that fight at all. Like, don't get me wrong, you're right. You're right. That's why
we sit here and say Miguel Cotto was off against Margarito.
He
was getting devastated by plaster punches. A cheater is an effing cheater.
So what did Cotto?
That's what he is. That's what he is. Devin Haney is still like you keep giving him all these negative perceptions because of that fight.